InShalla and Ashe. Blessings to you, my energetic beings. I'm moving a little snail time today. However, the cosmic energy of today is literally otherworldly, vibrationally, innovatively, and dimensionally. Just being heart-centric, the love channel of spirit, and being where our heart really longs to be spiritually in our little space here. But, however, welcome to today's daily snippet. Once again, I am your host. I am a practicing holistic Sha'medium and a subtle energetic surgeon, merging these indigenous technologies with the spirit of the Dagara tribe in Burkina Faso with the subtle energies, elements, and elemental beings. Really, it's the elemental realm into the imaginal realms, along with the subtle energies. So there's offerings, rituals, and prescriptions really to add to your personal container, the ingredients. But my intention really is to merge these indigenous technologies with the subtle realms, the etheric highway, to assist you into navigating your prime directive, your inner genius, basically reintroducing you to the magical being that I believe resides in each and every one of us. But my name is Tonya D, and welcome to my virtual medicine room. And if you haven't already, please be kind and do subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tonya D. That's kind of where I house everything at the moment. And go ahead and hit the bell button so you're notified. And also, if you really truly don't mind, go ahead and like my videos, comment, share, so the algorithm on YouTube will echo me out to other like-minded musers. And along with other social channels, I have Instagram, TikTok, and of course my Musing with Tonya D podcast, which is getting super juicy. But the moon, the goddess herself, is transitioning or at the end degrees of Pisces, moving into Aries, and Aries being our actions, our character, our emotions, how they play out. Aries is like business, sales, courage, passion, strength, having emotional strength, for example. But the energy of the day and the cosmic highway, I'm kind of going with the unseen, the beings that are all over the enchanted garden, at least in my world, for the cards of the day, the otherworldlies. But first up, we have the healer, singer of the healings, the singer of healing. The singers are the ministering angels, the great gods and goddesses, the deities. They're the givers of grace, the streams of grace. That which is given to us, whether we deserve it or not, whether we earn it or not. It's given unconditionally, which is always available to each and every one of us when we choose to be open and also receptive to it. But being that this is the first message, it means that a powerful process is being worked through and that we have very powerful assistance with these otherworldly beings. The song of the singer has the power of healing our deepest wounds, the wounds of the spirit, wounds that can destroy mortals or immortals alike, the other world. It's like faith betrayed or love dishonored, trust abandoned, and other injuries of the spirit that all inflict serious wounds, if you will, which ultimately become reflected in the body's illnesses and injuries. However, it's through the song of healing that we can be restored and renewed, but only if the wounded one is prepared to forgive and to let go, returning to love and compassion and knowing we're connected. So, as always, with all the gifts of spirit, healing is offered, but it's never forced. It really requires active participation on our part. So it's interesting when you call a healer and things don't change, you have to acknowledge that part of the change has to happen on your side of the fence as well. So true healing has to kind of take place on all levels at once, whether it's body, mind, and spirit and soul, because they're all linked, like connected together in one piece, one place. And we can't expect change to happen to one without changing the other. So our bodies really do not do things all on their own. These links between different aspects of being are very complex. Sometimes they're obscure, and yet the principle of healing them is really simple in itself. So we need only to let go of the things that are hurting us and nurture ourselves with the things that are benefiting us. It's really so simple and yet so difficult all at the same time. But the song of healing is present everywhere, and like all the aspects of the great song of Ekstasis, it's without limit. So healing can seem really complex as we dig our way out and through all the blocks and the resistances, all the old stuff, the old narratives. But in the end, it's simply just letting go and opening up. So when we are earthed, centered, and connected, allowing the energy of the Fae, the Otherworldlies, to kind of flow through us in this oracle, the message, healing just naturally happens. It really can be that simple. And we can facilitate our openness to this by just asking our opening statement within the intention or an invocation that both the messages and ourselves be a channel or a conduit for healing. So it's like keeping the essential simplicity of the process in mind, and we won't go far wrong, right? So this is kind of the healer's message, if you will. Its presence may speak of healing to be given or healing to be received. So the circumstances and the process of reaching well-being may seem easy, or they may bring great challenges. But in either case, we're being asked to participate in our own healing as we are strengthened by this singer. And more usually, the singer speaks of both giving and receiving, because we cannot truly and freely give without receiving as well. So healing is something that flows through us, not from us. And as such, we are inevitably affected by the passage. So the drawing of this card kind of tells us of both a need and an opportunity for healing ourselves and perhaps others as well. And again, healing is not something we do. It is something that we are. It's happening for us. It's not happening to us. And being that it's a number 10 on the card, it's a placeholder surrounding us in a container, the 0 for the love, which is the 1, the sun. It's sacred space. It's loving and trusting, right? And then, oh boy, I got the juice on for today. Super excited. I have yet to have this message on the show, but this is Ekstasis. Ekstasis is the song. It's the energy and the power that feels unity. And there's nothing else but this song. This is the song of the other world, the universe. So no voice to sing it, no ears to hear it. It's this infinite and eternal song. So it's the energy of which completely feels eternity and infinity. It's this rhapsody song of bliss. It's the powers that, it is what powers the cosmos. It's what gives it order and harmony. So it's the song that holds atoms together and stars in their places, the galaxies in theirs, and it keeps our hearts beating. It's the love and the trust that flows through it. So in unity, there is nothing but this song. So it's this outpouring of this undifferentiated energy. It's the power felt in the mystical experience, the void, so often spoken of in a spiritual literature space. It's not empty, but it's very full. It's so full that there is no space between one singing and the next. So there's nowhere to stand outside of unity looking at it, kind of marveling. So at the level of this world's reality, the unseen beings of the Fae, we have the sensory illusion that you and I are separate, that we are not directly connected, that what happens when a finger is lifted on a small plate, circling around the farthest star in the most distant galaxy does not affect us at all. So it's like we need this illusion because at the stage of evolution, we're not ready to be aware of the full song in more than very little short snippets or bursts, if even that. So the singers are capable of all of this, but we are not. At least we're not able to do this as of yet. It may take a little while for us to get there, but that is where we are headed. Knowingly or unknowingly, our ears are too small to hear the song, and our souls are big enough only. So the song really rings through everything. It's the wind in the trees. It's the radiance of the distant stars. It's even a mouse, the heartbeat of a mouse, the rumble of our digestive system. It's even the quiet gurgle of a plant's capillaries, if you could stop the tonalities, right? It's this deep, unheard hum of the earth even. And scientists, they know that the earth has a song, sometimes unheard, the little hum. It's very deep and it's very slow. And some of them think it may be caused by changing of the atmospheric pressure. It's like this gentle, slow padding of a drum. Of course, changes in the atmosphere, primarily from changes in the solar wind and the radiation. So in essence, we see the Mother Earth. She's being gently patted, if you will, caressed by Father Sun, and she purrs and she hums as we are her children in a way, right? So everything is linked and everything is part of this one song, this Ekstasis. Kind of sounds like ecstasy, but it's Ekstasis. So we may be feeling sorrowful or grieving, but remember that these feelings too are part of this great song. They are part of love. So don't try to block them. Don't try to deny them. Really allow them to flow. So if your song is mournful, sing it that way. Let the energy move. Let it run freely until it changes and shifts and transforms. So it's important to just allow ourselves to feel what we feel without denial or blocking, so that we process these feelings naturally until they transform within us. So only by finding creative expression for these kinds of feelings, that's when we complete the process and move actually beyond them. So if life is not going as you wish, that's a memo. Like, live it, acknowledge it, expressive creativity, and be appropriate and go through it and go beyond it. So really finding our creative balance between wallowing in our emotions or denying them, we can accept them and gradually transform them, our feelings. So there is a saying, this too shall pass. It really is true about everything, all of our joys, all of our sorrows. Live it and allow it to pass, so that tomorrow can really bring in that new life, all the deeper and the richer for what we have already passed through. So that's super curious as well. And then I hope you're ready for what we have next. We have our cute little Journeyman again. So, I see this as a message to tune into the universe, the song of the universe. It's time to go on an adventure, take the journey to tell the tale. So he's part of the she, the people of the hills and the lords and the ladies. They love to dance. All the fae love to dance. They love laughter, all the joys. But the she, they do this to mediate the powerful energies of the singers, and we've had 2 already, to bring them into the manifestation throughout the world and the galaxy. And again, being that we've already had 2, there really is a possibility of having this alchemical dance between the worlds, the kneading. It always reminds me of cats when they're kneading their space to get comfortable. But the she are the ones who create, nurture, and build the worlds, and they are available to us individually as guardians or comforters. So it's like the guardian of your galaxy, a gatekeeper, or somebody who brings you comfort. And they enjoy creating these frequent miracles as well. And they have their own potent magic, their power that acts through all of life. They're profoundly wise. Their actions are for the highest good of all, of the all. So it's interesting, we really have these powers in embryo. I see them kind of like human design, how it goes off the 3 months before you landed in the earth plane. So I feel like it's the 3, the 6, or the 9 kind of thing. So these abilities are something we gradually earn by using them wisely. So these magics, they sing very powerfully in our lives. But our little journeyman has come, obviously, to show us about the journey of adventure, independence, polishing up our skills, traveling, all of the great ones, the saints, the Bodhisattvas, and all of those who are filled by the spiritual light have really been on this journey. To me, it reminds me of a nomadic Merlin, which I kind of feel myself kind of gravitating into. But they went into the wilderness. They stepped out what appeared like a fool off the safe path in the waiting hands of the gods and their goddesses. So this really is the journey of life. It's like a pilgrimage that begins in ignorant trust. And it passes through all of the doubts and the fears and the ups and the downs and probably all of the delusions and certainly all of the confusions, right? So this is like through it, we learn slowly, sometimes painfully. We've got a new kind of trust, but the trust is in the process. Sometimes we're detached from the goal. But our little Ongus, he is the journeyman, and just bless him. He is stepping out into the journey of life. He's positively glowing with enthusiasm and optimism. Even his toes are sparkling. He is bright, he is handsome, and he is educated. And he's completed his certification and apprenticeship and the crafts of the magic and the fae, all those things. But he has not yet achieved true mastery of his trade, which, that comes with experience often, right? So to accomplish this, he needs to leave the protection of his master and step out into the path as this independent journeyman. So he's testing himself, his knowledge out into the world, but he hopes to eventually achieve the status of being a master maker. So right now, he knows a lot of facts, he has the basic skills, but probably he knows less than he actually thinks he does. So he's about to learn the skills of survival, bartering, selling, persuading, buying wisely, enjoying life, making friends, etc., etc. But at least, he doesn't have to iron his own shirt. He looks kind of in the buff there, I'm not sure. But he still has this lovely, playful, childlike quality. So he's balancing the moon on his stick or the ball, whatever. But he seems to have no worries. He has no constraints. He's set no boundaries on what he can or can't do. And because he is magical and he doesn't set those limitations on himself, he's really able to walk on air or water or through hills, all with the moon nicely balanced on his stick out into the sky, into the galaxy in a way. So he's learning how to take care of himself, and no one is looking over his shoulder to see what he does or if he is doing his work right, or even if he's eating properly, the habits, right? So he may take chances, even make mistakes sometimes, as we all do, because honestly, that's how we learn, right? There's no such thing as a mistake. Those are just hiccups, really, right? But he's now confronting and being confronted by the real world, reality. So here he will discover that excuses aren't going to buy bread or dinner, that the quality and the integrity of his work and the actions are really what honestly counts. But he has been well taught and pretty well knows that already. So here we have this innocent being walking trustfully out into a situation where he's not fully prepared, and indeed most of us cannot be fully prepared, for which is, preparation is untested by reality in a way. So he is innocent of previous practical experiences of the path he is now treading on, or the realm of life in which he is now moving. But it's like these innocent encounters of reality, being that it is upside right. This really is an adventure. It's independence. It's travel. It's a long path ahead, we hope. So it's speaking to the need to perfect our skills in working and living, but it's also acknowledging having our basic sound grounding in the basics. It's optimistic. It's innocent. It's being willing to learn. So Angus also shows us that intuition serves us well, but only if we pay attention to it. Sometimes we're only operating from the theory or the idea alone, and our knowledge may or may not be well grounded within our reality. So this doesn't necessarily refer exclusively to beginnings. It could also signify a progression in our path, moving into the unknown from the known, a new phase in an ongoing process. But it also may represent untested concepts or ideas, suggesting a need for balance between the intuitive and the rational, the two sides of the mind, as we approach this unknown. So it's like considering where we are going, what are our futuristic long-term goals, and what are we doing that is helping us to move towards them. So, I see the universe is guiding us on a journey, on an adventure. We've got the song of the singers, healing our body, our mind, our soul, our spirit, having joy, having rapture, and being motivated for this journey. So it's kind of a combination of that. And hi, Rose. Is it Rose or Rose? And I like your comment there. That's awesome. Okay, Angus. And then we have, let me slide that up. For you, Amber, if you're listening, this is the undressing of a salad. It's part of the Fae Guides and Guardians. These are the little beings that devote their time and their energy to directly guiding humans to develop their specific special talents or gifts, our own natural magic. They really are here to help us become more than we already are, exploring our pure potentials, transcending our self-imposed limitations and fears. Sometimes they help us to climb out of the holes that we have made for ourselves by misusing or misunderstanding our talents and our potentials. But they also believe that a sense of humor is truly necessary. That's a part of being fulfilled, but it's also a part of being magical. So they really like to encourage us, and each and every one of us, they like to encourage that. So these are the guides that also help us just discover the joys of living, being in more harmony with nature, with each other, and also with them. So every denizen of fairy is, and in his or her own way, helping the worlds, whether it's the world within a tree, the world within the waters, the world within the earth, the galaxy, the planets. Ours, theirs, just moving towards this harmony. And we are too, each in our own way, doing the same thing. But the undressing of a salad, so this is balance. This is avoiding extremes and achieving the impossible being impossible. So the undressing of a salad requires good balance. It's disparate elements they must be blended in this tasty whole, right? So the undressing requires truly remarkable adroitness. In a way, at first, you might think it's impossible, but Adroidio, he's the little character, I don't know if you can see him, whom we see he's busily balancing the balls, the magical balls in the realm of fairy, doing impossible things. But he also is the fairy of being impossible, the fairy of avoiding extremes as well. And it kind of does sound impossible because it is, right? So they both, Sally as well, she's crouched above him. They're really intently focused on balancing the things. And there's also a large gnome in the center who's finding this all very amusing. So there's a bunch of little beings in this card actually. But he's looking in two directions at once, simultaneously, seeing the impossibility of keeping things that are in constant motion and balance it all the time. So it really is like a juggling act. Of course, we all fall out of balance. And of course, we occasionally are going to drop the ball. And sometimes we do drop the ball, or a bird flies by and snatches it from us. But we just have to invent another ball, another wheel. So sometimes it seems as if possible as undressing a salad, right? So there are times when we have to turn bad luck into good. And this isn't always easy, especially if someone else seems determined to turn our good luck into the bad. So everything is integrating and disintegrating at the same time. So confusion is rife, but we still try to create order and put things in balance. So the whole universe is hurtling through time at this astonishing rate. And it's very difficult to keep balance on a rapid moving object. So especially, as it appears kind of lurching and unpredictable from time to time. So sooner or later, these little characters are going to drop the balls. So the sulky, I don't know if you can see him, there's a sulking little fellow on the left. He's clearly waiting to snatch a ball or two or all so that he can play with them as well, or maybe just so that the characters cannot juggle the balls anymore. So, they're smart enough to realize this. And, through time and space, everything wears out and new ones need to be brought into play. So he's ready to kind of deal with this. So this balance changes constantly, but it still is a balance. So being that this card is otherworldly, meaning reversed, this is saying that imbalance occurs, confusion happens, these lovely balls are going to fall on the floor, and then we discover that they're just basically uncooked eggs, if you will, splattering on the ground. So it's like a sleight of hand may be happening, and things that appear to be so are not, or vice versa. So it's as if misdirection might be prevalent. There might be some attempts to over-control, maybe contributing to a problem. Someone may be attempting unethical or unkind manipulations. However, it's just worth remembering that out of chaos, we can creates miracles. So after all that unity is created, the whole universe kind of that way. So we've had the singers of the day as well. So it's like the magic on the other side of this undressed salad. We learned the lesson, right? And then what we have on the elemental highway, which is great, we have a Yin Wood Rabbit of a day, a Yaya Mao, which is funny. So Yin Wood is strong in the Tiger month, and tigers are adversity to a Yin Wood. It's like sibling rivalry. The family probably doesn't like the partner of her day either. So our Yin Wood needs the support of Yang Fire and Yang Metal to be able to use and control that tiger's energy. So Yin Water is a resource to our day and can provide moisture if the chart is too dry. A lot of wood there, right? And those Yang Water on the stems, they make the wood, the tigers, way too wet. And the earth is also diminished due to all of the nature of the day. Metal's unable to control or use the element of wood either. So it might be damaged while the wood still remains out of control, so it's not even useful. So we need to stimulate the metal element to bring balance to our day. Wet earth actually would be useful as well because it can produce the metal energy and exhaust the wood energy. So wood is strong. The weak fire energy isn't even able to spend, if you will, burn off the excess energy. So it's not producing enough. So fire is also needed to give wood a job, something to do to bring balance to our day. So our day, again, it has no roots either. It's unstable. The earth element is exhausted. Wet earth is a combination of water and earth. That would bring balance. But we really have no metal either, so we need all three of those. Earth is stability. It's the foundation. Metal for strong leadership that creates unity in community. We totally need that on the world, right? And fire. Fire is spirit. It's spirit of the wood, spirit of metal or mineral. So earth creates a space for growth for our day so the roots can expand. Fire is the output or performance element because wood produces fire, right? So it's creativity, it's passion, it's charisma. And metal is the one to lead, make decisions, the manager of our person, if this was a person whose chart I was reading. So using the elements that are missing to create balance. And also at the hour of the dragon, we have an eastern direction. So the wood is higher. It's a higher force as well. So being that the energy of today is like this interdimensional kind of frequency between spirit and vibration, innovation. What happens is we have one awareness bridging consciousness to another perspective. So if you feel like you're in this in-between, in that void, the singers in that perspective, that's because we are. Spiritual perspectives versus vibrational ones. Usually it feels uncomfortable, maybe a little unstable or just unfamiliar. But being that we are in the season of Pisces, it's our spiritual acumen is kind of drifting away and a new one is flowing in. So the key to access this transition is spiritual faith, merging with compassion, the compassion we have to ourselves, sometimes just determining where we are spiritually and where we belong spiritually, and also knowing where we don't belong, right? So this is going to reach every aspect of our day-to-day reality, whether it's a routine we do, a job, our relationships, our actions, the characters in our actions, society, work, even play, could be romance. Another aspect is change, transition, nature, all that wood, right? That's what nature is. It's transformation. So it's as if we are outgrowing a place, a situation, an event, etc., a person even, a relationship, or even spiritually, you've outgrown the tribe, the village that you hang out with simply because you're going on a nomadic Merlin kind of a path, the Journeyman. So you might have this realization that wherever you are spiritually, it no longer resonates or fits into the pieces of your own cosmic puzzle of self or the other, or even you might be feeling a little stuck. Maybe you feel stagnant. Maybe the fear of changing life even, However, I would say stay in your observation station and see what is really not enough for you. Take note of it. The vision hasn't arrived yet. It's like the current trends. We just know that life isn't enough, and it may not have a vision for where we want to go or what we want to do. I really love energy of today's like today. I really do. So I just have this frequency in my cosmic highway, so I understand it. So I kind of enjoy the unfamiliar, really. So it's like going where our heart believes to be our journey, our path, and listening to source, the universe. That's something that often we don't do enough of. So if you find yourself coming to the fork in the road or a crossroads, just remember to follow what your heart believes. Be like the journeyman, hold faith, be compassionate as we all transition, not knowing what's going to come next, right? Again, it's like our little journeyman, Oingus, just having and keeping the faith, a leap of faith. Ultimately, the remedy is to follow what our heart believes, holding that faith. It's not a day to avoid. It's not a day to fix anything that breaks down. Really just allow the breakdown to happen. New seeds get planted in different spaces, and listen to your heart for how things should be, and just finding what belongs. That is the treasure. And just knowing that there's always magic on the other side of the breakdown so that we can get to our breakthrough, seeing things in a new perspective and different eyes, and just resisting the urge to run in and save a situation, which is hard to do, right? Literally just sit in your observation station, watch the universe, play it all out. So it's like the key to our inner knowing is knowing our heart, what our heart believes, and knowing where we belong. Anything else really is not worth our energy or spending that energy in this moment, in this space at time. It's like trust and loving, right? And knowing where we don't belong is also something we tend to not pay attention to unless we are in it. We are like, why am I here? That's what happens to me. That's where the observation station comes in. So being that our crown center is also online, I would like literally listen and tune into the resonance of the universe. We've got all these singers as well. It's like the plan, the prime directive, our inner genies or our genius. It's the seed sound of Ong. Ong. I'm not the best singer, but I do chant when I'm alone in the car. And also the elemental sounds of fire, earth, and metal. It's the s for the Sammy, the snake kind of a s. And if you haven't heard the Mongolia rock band, I highly recommend it. That's earth. The Who. They're called the Who. H-U. Love them. They're magical. I've seen them live. Oh my gosh, totally earthy. And fire is the heat of our voice, the ha. Ha. Ha, it's a breathy ha. But I would affirm for our day, I would affirm merging my spiritual truths with my core heart beliefs, and all else is dissipating. It's like we're creating our own spiritual acumen, our own sacred space with spirit. So it's like ground control. We're being elevated out of the old and the cold into a breathtaking anew. So Rosie, I will try and pull a card for you tomorrow. And I'll see you on the other side. Thanks for tuning in. As always, Ashe.